project as a deliberate effort to deliver affordable homes to civil servants and low-income earners. FMBN Managing Director Shehu Osidi said the development is part of the bank's drive to reduce Nigeria's housing deficit and ensure National Housing Fund contributors access affordable mortgages. He noted that the bank has already financed 1,590 housing units in the state. The project is expected to boost home ownership and economic activities in Nasarawa State. Borno State Governor Babagana Umaru Zulum has inaugurated and handed over 12 three-bedroom staff quarters to the Federal University of Health Sciences, Azare, Fusha. The two-story buildings, each with 6 flats, are aimed at addressing accommodation challenges for the university's academic staff, represented by the State Commissioner for Housing and Environment, Mustafa Gubayo. Zulum said the project is part of efforts to strengthen educational development in the Northeast. FUSA officials described the gesture as timely and impactful, assuring proper maintenance of the facilities. Governor Zulum reiterated his administration's commitment to supporting educational institutions beyond Borno State. To read the full details of the news, visit www.africahousingnews.com.
With inflation still rising, a staggering 62 million Nigerians, over 30% of the population, are still struggling with housing challenges. Many now live in informal settlements, grappling with poor housing conditions and lack of basic amenities. A visit to the Galadimawa community in the Federal Capital Territory shows residents lamenting bitterly about their living conditions, ranging from poorly maintained roads and lack of clean water to inadequate electricity supply, among other challenges. Let's take a look.
Residents of Galadimawa lament harsh living conditions amid poor basic amenities. During a visit to the area, we were warmly welcomed by the residents. Many locals lamented the persistent lack of basic amenities, particularly water supply and electricity, revealing that they sometimes spend days without running water or power.
The living condition here, because we have bad road. Aside that, we don't have good water supply. Aside that, we don't have NEPA lights. NEPA do not supply light to us often. When we need the light, they don't give us. Mostly at night when we need light, we don't get any. Yes, the increment in house rent is another topic on its own, because the house is here. It's not even as though we have water in the house. Like, we don't have water supply in the house, but yet the house rent is quite too much. It's high, very, very high. So living condition here is very, very rough, tough. Anyhow I can put it. Like self-contained, depending on where you're staying. If there's water supply, pay. If there's water supply and POP, pay from 700 and above. Why, if there's no water supply, that's if you're going out to get water and other things, you pay 500.
The living condition in Galadimawa is, let me talk about the house rent. It's so exorbitant. Yes, we the tenant that are renting houses, particularly those of us that are not indigenous of Galadimawa, we are not really finding it easy. Let's use my house for example. I got into my room where I'm living currently around 2022. And when I came, the person that was living the house told me she was paying 80. But my landlord already told me that he was already planning to increase for the lady from 80 to 100, which I had to pay 100 for a start. By the end of 2023/2024, the increment was above my capacity. He told me that the kind of house I was living, and it's not as if the house was okay per se, because the window, even when I need ventilation, when I open my window, in short, I have to leave both the door and the window open, so at least I'll be able to sleep well because of the heat, because the roof is not high, it's just very, if I compare it to my room in my village, it's as if it's my mommy's kitchen. Yes, that's the way I read the house. But I have no choice than to manage it because that's what I can afford for now. But yet the price is not encouraging. So I don't know. We are soliciting that government, there's any way they can come in, which I believe they can. Please come to our aid and assist us, because the way the increment is going is not even like 5,000, 10,000 increment. You can imagine from 100,000, landlord is expecting to come and pay 250,000 for a single room with little basha and little toilets. That I have to squeeze myself inside. Please, we are soliciting for assistance from the government, please.
It's not funny, oh, it's not funny. Because the increment of the house rent compared to what you get now is not easy. Before it was 150, but now it's like 250, 300,000 for the rent. So, and it depends on where you live. That is if it's one room, the rent is different from one bedroom flat. So it's not funny. There's no light. Like since yesterday now, we have not seen light. There's no light. No, if there's no light, there's no water. So for us to get water is very difficult for us.
That is the situation facing the residents of Galadimawa community in the FCT. We'll quickly go for a short break and continue the program when we return. Please stay glued.
Africa International Housing Show has created history. An organization that started modestly as a local institution has become an international pride for the country Nigeria. There is no show in Nigeria, especially in this sector, that you can compare. Not in Nigeria, in Africa, that you can compare with the African International Housing Show. It provides an international and institutional platform for players in the industry to come together and see how best to advance this industry. That show brings people from all over the world. And I must commend Barrister Festus Adebayo for your doggedness, and the vision to create such a platform that has become a veritable tool for players in the industry to come together and voice ideas and see how we can move forward. And for also becoming a pride. I have visited several countries in the world and people ask me. In fact, a lot of my friends, usually, when any of the event is coming up, they will be calling me, are you going to be there? I say, of course I'm going to be here.
Are you getting ready for another big one? The largest housing show in Africa. 2 decades of relentless exhibition and conference. The 20th edition of the Africa International Housing Show, happening from the 13th to 18th of July 2026 at the prestigious Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja, Nigeria. This premier event is Africa's largest housing and construction expo, attracting over 50,000 attendees in Africa and beyond, thereby giving room for developers, construction giants, financiers, home interiors, mortgage and microfinance banks, drawing from about 21 different countries of the world. Get ready to be part of history.
Let's now hear from the people on the streets. What is their perspective on homelessness in Nigeria today? And how do we think the government can address this growing issue?
What I think is the problem of the people sleeping under bridge, actually it's true. People are do sleeping under bridge because they are homeless. And the reasons why, there is no job for them. Because if somebody is working, I believe that person can afford a place, as in a shelter for himself. Sleeping under a bridge is very difficult. Though. The air coming from here, at least if such air should, as in, inflict you with sickness, I don't think they can even afford a tablet that can sustain it for a while. Not to talk of, as in, keeping such illness from them. A lot of them are suffering because of not having roof over their head. I dey feel for them, oh, I dey tell you. Where I'm selling, at times, if I should come out here and see them, like under my table, I noticed one guy was sleeping under my table. I had to caution him to stop sleeping here. But the other way around, I was saying, if I should stop him not to sleep here, where will he go? Did he have where to go and he decided to come here? It was very, very bad.
Not be only one person they sleep under the bridge. There are many. But some people, they doesn't have houses. Some they come now, they used to do a job. And then some people, they used to find job that they give them, like you collect pure water, even 2 bags, 3 bags, you sell. After of the day, they go and pay you your own share to find something what you call chop.
There is economics. The Nigeria is not like this before. If your economy is there good, there is no how somebody could sleep for under bridge, receiving mosquito pains and fresh air, all those kind of things. So it's part of economics. If the federal government can look into the Nigerian economy, because things are bad, things are not good. Maybe the country the way we know before as a Nigerian be this. So if the federal government can sit into it, but for somebody as a human being to come and sleep on that bridge, if you have money, you go and pay house and they're comfortable now. It's lack of comfortable and lack of financial and money where no day for the systems. Now what make people now they crash, not be to sleep and wake up. But if you catch day, you can never see a human being where go live in get house, you go come decide say you go leave your house to come and sleep under the bridge. Now be the issue. So now what I see if Nigeria government or both Tinubu, because you know they hear, because even though you are as I talk now, you know go feel listen to me. Tinubu no go hear. But if Tinubu go feel hear, make you look into it. He's trying for your own government, but make it try more. So that at least sleeping on the bridge and economics, make it things they okay. It's fine.
Actually, things have not been going well with those people sleeping under the bridge. It's just to the situation of Nigeria, the financial problem they are facing in Nigeria, the financial economic problem they are facing in Nigeria. So we will employ our government to try as much as possible to improve our economic finance so that those people will not be sleeping under the bridges and they will try to get, and they should try to get shelters for them.
Those were voices from the streets. Welcome back. You're still watching Housing Development. Rapid urbanization, poverty, unemployment, and inadequate housing policies have all contributed to Abuja's homelessness crisis and by extension has an effect on our health. Now, let's listen to insights from one of Nigeria's leading health experts on the correlation between housing and health. Welcome back. This is Reside the Real Estate brought to you by Housing TV Africa. Today we are talking about an interesting topic, housing and health, the relationship and the correlation. I am not here alone. I'm here with a guest, Dr. Tefa Kene. He is the President, Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, audience. Good morning.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, you know, lately, housing has been on demand. And a lot of people tend to not to get the information, the right information about housing, and not to talk more of the relationship between housing and health, the importance, the livelihood and all that. We would like to know the relationship between housing and health, like what's the correlation between it?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Abuja residents, developers, residents of estates, and everyone in Abuja. My name is Dr. Tefa Kene. I am a consultant public health physician, epidemiologist, and medical statistician. I'm currently the President, Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria. Housing and health are twins. because housing is a critical determinant of health. In fact, it's a social determinant of health. One, when we talk about housing in certain categories, talk about slums and of course the standard housing. But what we're seeing in Abuja is that we're moving from slums, overcrowded slums, to overcrowded duplexes.
Wow.
And all these have impact on the health of individuals. Now, what are we talking about here? First, let's look at the direct impact. Now, when there is substandard use of materials for building and a disaster, what happened? People sustain injuries. And those injuries are health-related. Imagine someone's father died because a building collapsed on that person. The life of that child never remains the same again with respect to mental health. Now we know that. Now we also talk about housing affordability. Now once an individual is paying more than 30% of his monthly income into financing housing, becomes a problem because other aspects of life are affected. So for instance, if your annual income, you are spending more than 30% of that annual income to acquire housing, it means that the school fees will suffer, feeding will suffer, other aspects of individual. So housing should also be affordable. These are some of the things that comes with it directly relating to health. Of course, the standard quality of materials used, I've talked about it with respect to safety, talk about affordability. But there are other aspects of it that are indirect. Now, let's look at it. I've just mentioned that we're moving from overcrowded slums to overcrowded duplexes. What happens to ventilation? Now, once there's a duplex in front of the other one, cross ventilation is not achieved, even though you have windows. And the impact can be around asthma, respiratory tract infections, and other things. Of course, overcrowding itself comes with its own problem. What are the indirect things that we may even talk about with housing? Now, we know that if there's no space, nobody can now come out of the building for any reason. So space in a compound allow people to freely mingle among themselves. But one indirect effect that happens is that if there's no space, you can't come out to even experience the natural environment with respect to sunshine and others.
One of the most effective ways to tackle homelessness in Nigeria is for the government to consider policies such as the Housing First approach, which prioritizes providing permanent housing without preconditions. This strategy has recorded significant success in countries like Finland, reducing long-term homelessness by over 25%. Let's go for a short break. We will be right back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Housing Development. In a smart move, Barrister Festus Adebayo, a housing advocate, recently inspected the Solar Property Limited site, checking out the building, structure, and materials used for construction. Let's take a look. In another development, the Chief Executive Officer of the Africa International Housing Show, Festus Adebayo, paid a strategic visit to the facility of Royal Ceramic, a part of preparations towards the forthcoming AIHS 20th edition.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Africa International Housing Show, Festus Adebayo, paid a strategic visit to the facility of Royal Ceramic. The visit focused on strengthening partnerships within Nigeria's housing and construction sector while showcasing locally manufactured building materials, driving affordable housing nationwide.
So what's happening in the area? What are your new products?
I mean, there's a lot of change, in the last one and a half year. We have been working on quite a few things. We have invested on technology. We have invested on sourcing raw material in a sustainable way. And just in the last few months, we have launched quite a lot of new products. So our core focus has been to become more affordable by becoming more competitive. So we have invested a lot of money on national capability building, continuous improvement programs, so that the more we become affordable, the more we are able to reach the market, and at the same time make housing in general affordable. What we have also worked on is on good packaging, on good logistics and supply chain arrangements. It has been a day of the past where a customer used to pay and wait for a very long time.
Okay.
Now it's just a wait of 1 week, 2 weeks, that they can pick the goods. Which also means we have done better in terms of the capacity that we work on. So it has been a great year for us last year, and we are sure that we'll continue the good work in 2026. Just last month, we have also launched some new sizes, as you can see here. These are 30-120, and these are 20-120. We launched both of them, both in RCT as well as VIT, which is basically means it is for the floor as well as for the wall. Still the best quality product that can be available in the market, and continue to be innovative. We always say that our wood finish is so good that somebody who is trying to use a real wood, instead of using a real wood, they should rather use a tile to be more sustainable.
In his remarks, Festus Adebayo commended the company's effort in modern manufacturing and its contribution to reducing construction costs across housing projects. Discussions during the meeting also centered on the upcoming AIHS 20th edition, a milestone event expected to bring together policymakers, developers, investors, and manufacturers from across Africa and beyond.
20 years of Africa International Housing Show, we considered necessary to celebrate our partners who have been with us over the years. Royal Ceramic, West African Ceramic, became one of them. For many years, these highly respected tile manufacturers have been sourcing all its products, almost 95%, from Nigeria. And this is one of the pillars of Africa International Housing Show. For us in Africa International Housing Show, we consider it a responsibility to promote local building materials, where we don't depend so much on importation. And that is what Royal Ceramics has been known for. So we are happy to be with you. What will you say? What will you say about Africa International Housing Show at 20?
I mean, we are really excited because, as you may know, that we celebrated our 30 years last year.
Royal is 30.
Yes.
So,
we don't want to call ourselves but as a big brother, but rather want to give AIHS to be as our big brother and, helping, the industry. But I think AIHS has played a very important role, to formalize the industry, to bring the stakeholders together. People outside may not realize how difficult it is, but it is not easy. It is not easy, it is tough to get everybody on board. And this platform that is displayed, I mean, it's a great opportunity, the way I see it, for not only us, but all factories in the country who want to present, what they produce to the global audience. And I'm sure it will reach to a stage where Nigeria will stand tall within Africa, and we will not only manufacture and supply for the Nigeria market, but we will export and AHS will play a very important role and a platform to be able to do that.
The visit underscores the growing synergy between Nigeria's housing exhibition platforms and indigenous manufacturing companies, a partnership seen as critical to bridging the nation's housing deficit. As preparations continue for AIHS at 20, stakeholders say collaboration, innovation, and local production will remain central to shaping the future of housing in Nigeria and across Africa.
The truth remains that you cannot talk about national development without talking about where people sleep at night. On that note, we draw the curtains on today's edition of Housing Development. Join us same time next week. I still remain your anchor, Hafsat Urimi Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news. When the city is getting too loud, you need a home. Home is love, peace, and tranquility. Home is Housing TV Africa. Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news. Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
Majority of homeless people in Nigeria are the nation's poor, accounting for a staggering 70% of its population, including 60% living in absolute poverty or only able to afford basic necessities such as food, clothing, and shelter. The spate of nationwide insecurity, fueled by armed conflict, insurgency, banditry, unemployment, and an all-time low performance of the economy has increased the drift of people into major cities, including the Federal Capital Territory, in search of better job opportunities and lifestyle. But a proper shelter to rest in has remained an illusion.
We are the people who are just situated in this place. It's not as if it's our own land, but we are staying here with the consent of the owner of the land. We came out from different places, different states. We have people from Katsina here. We have